If there was a story, or if I had a story of my life, that story would be, this isn't fair. Because honestly, for the longest time, I feel like that was the thought pattern that ran through my head when certain things would happen. This isn't fair. Why is this happening to me? This isn't right. This isn't right. Like, I always kept hearing, this isn't right. And it's that dialogue. It's that, because I want to say that person that says this isn't right has a tenacity about herself that says, I deserve better. That's my soul translates this isn't right to be, I deserve better. I'm worthy. But it took me well into my 30s for me to receive that, for me to understand that. And so because of my lack of self-awareness, I didn't understand that this isn't right. What that meant was, I'm still hungry. I'm not finished. There's more out there. I still have purpose. I still have drive. This isn't the end of my life. This isn't the end of me. Whatever this is, the circumstance, the abuse, the neglect, the alcoholism, the drug addiction, whatever it is, this isn't me. And like I said, it was that attitude every time I went through something negative or something that I felt was undeserving, something that made me feel shame, something that made me feel low. I would say to myself, this isn't right. What just happened isn't right. Whether I caused it or not, I would feel like this isn't right. And because I had that, this isn't right, it would drive me. That thought would drive me to look, to seek, and to find better. And that's why I ended up where I am today. Healed, whole, complete, renewed. Because I never stopped seeking. That voice never got too quiet. You know, sometimes when we go through life experiences, that voice gets quieter. That voice when you're a child that tells you when your mom slaps the shit out of you that this isn't right. That voice gets quieter the more people slap the shit out of you. The more life slaps the shit out of you. You see what I'm saying? Because you start to normalize that dysfunction the more you go through it. The more you participate in it. Right? But see, I never normalized it. I continued to fight my soul. Something inside of me kept saying no. I was abused in my childhood, for example, let's say. Then I go into an abusive relationship. Nothing inside of me said, maybe this is how life is. No, something inside of me kept saying, this isn't right. And that's why I left. Because there's this person, there's this drive, there's this force, there's this energy, there's this divinity. You know, I feel like there's an intuition. That's my intuition, my voice. That's the God in me telling me, this is not your destination. And it keeps knocking. The more I rest there where I'm not supposed to be, the more I participate in things that I'm not supposed to participate in, the more I stay in relationships that don't serve me. This voice, basically, it starts off low, but the longer I stay, it gets louder and louder and louder. And now I'm so uncomfortable 10 years later, and I don't even know how I'm still married to this person. Just to leave another 10 years after that. I committed 20 years of my life to somebody that I knew 20 minutes in I didn't want. But because I didn't listen to that still voice, the same voice that's still talking 20 years later that caused me to get the divorce anyway. That was that same voice that was there 20 years earlier, 20 minutes into the conversation with him. Yet here I am. Why? Because I refuse to listen, because I refuse to be still, because I refuse to submit to well-being, to self-worth, to loving me. What's really holding you back? What's really keeping you from living a life that's deserving and full and peaceful and healthy? Because you've always lived that way? So is that a reason to continue to live that way? What did Einstein say the definition of insanity was? To continue to do something and expect a new result, to continue to behave in a certain way, to continue to do what your mama did and her mama did. And now you have 7 generations of no fathers, 7 generations of single parenting, 7 generations of poverty, 7 generations of high school dropouts. Come on. All it takes is for someone to do something different. And what if you were that someone? What if you were brave enough to say, I will be the oddball for this second, this moment in time, so that I can break the curse and so that the my bloodline, my seed, so that I could be the first blueprint with my last name or in my bloodline. I'll be the first one that begins a new heritage of wealth, consciousness, a new heritage of healthy living. We don't have to eat what we ate back 20, 30 years ago. We have nutritional value and facts that are readily available to us that will lead us to leading healthy lives if we just listened, gained knowledge, sought information. But because you never saw anybody pick up a book and read, you're not interested in reading. You never saw anybody go to college. And so something keeps telling you that that's just not for me. But the only reason why you don't have the things in your life that you want and desire, and you don't have the relationships and connections that you deserve and desire, is because of you. Because of what you're allowing, because of what you're participating in, because of what you are choosing. And I realized I had gotten lost just like you. I got lost in my routine. I got lost in life. I got lost and I began to accept this dysfunction until I couldn't accept it anymore, until it was too much. It was too much pain, too painful to endure anymore. And I'm so glad that it didn't take me until I was in my 70s on my deathbed regretting decisions. No, it took me one divorce and a few years later of suffering for me to say, hey, I don't have to live this way. I've lived a different life. And people are living different lives. What is it that Oprah is doing that I need to do? What is it that Will Smith is doing that I need to do? What is it that Selma Hayek is doing that I need to do? People who are successful and healthy lives, I can have that same healthy life. What would it take? What would I have to let go of? Who would I have to become? What disciplines would I have to implement in my life? Aren't I worth the sacrifice? Because I know, sis, bruh, you done sacrificed for that girl or that boy a lot. But you're not willing to sacrifice on yourself. I wonder why. Was it that? And I know that person you sacrificed for, were they worth it? No. Some of y'all, hell. But you did it. But aren't you worth it? Talk on topics.